We back. Another episode, Biblical Blueprint. Chapter by chapter, verse by verse. We're going through the Bible to show you that the Bible is the best resource for life and business. Let's start, man. Alright, man. We're back with another episode of Biblical Blueprint. It's your boy Reylo, man. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that everything is going good for you. Today, we're still in the book of Genesis. We're at chapter 19, and man, we're talking about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And this is going to be called There's No Turning Back. There's no turning back. Are you in a situation where you're still looking back and you're afraid to go forward? Right? Just think about it. Are you still looking back and afraid to go forward? Are you procrastinating with going forward? Well, this chapter is going to summarize just a key to what happens when you look back and you don't keep going forward. Or if you're not going forward fast enough, how God's going to push you to where you got to get to. So let's go ahead and let's just get into the word. Let's go ahead and just get into chapter 19 of Genesis.
Genesis 19, 1-38, ERV. That evening the two angels came to the city of Sodom. Lot was sitting near the city gates and saw them. He got up and went to them. He bowed to show respect and said, "Sirs, please come to my house and I will serve you. There you can wash your feet and stay the night. Then tomorrow you can continue your journey." The angels answered, "No, we will stay the night in the city square." But Lot continued to ask them to come to his house, so they agreed and went with him. Lot gave them something to drink. He baked some bread for them, and they ate it. That evening, just before bedtime, men from every part of town came to Lot's house. They stood around the house and called to Lot. They said, "Where are the two men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us. We want to have sex with them." Lot went outside and closed the door behind him. He said to the men, "No, my friends, I beg you. Please don't do this evil thing. Look, I have two daughters who have never slept with a man before. I will give my daughters to you. You can do anything you want with them, but please don't do anything to these men. They have come to my house, and I must protect them." The men surrounding the house answered, "Get out of our way." They said to themselves, "This man Lot came to our city as a visitor. Now he wants to tell us how we should live." Then the men said to Lot, "We will do worse things to you than to them." So the men started moving closer and closer to Lot. They were about to break down the door. But the two men staying with Lot opened the door, pulled him back inside the house, and closed the door. Then they did something to the men outside the door. They caused all these evil men, young and old, to become blind. So the men trying to get in the house could not find the door. The two men said to Lot, "Are there any other people from your family living in this city? Do you have any sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or any other people from your family here? If so, you should tell them to leave now. We are going to destroy this city. The Lord heard how evil this city is, so he sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, the men who had married his other daughters. He said, "Hurry and leave this city. The Lord will soon destroy it." But they thought he was joking. The next morning at dawn, the angels were trying to make Lot hurry. They said, "This city will be punished, so take your wife and your two daughters who are still with you and leave this place. Then you will not be destroyed with the city." When Lot did not move fast enough, the two men grabbed his hand. They also took the hands of his wife and his two daughters. The two men led Lot and his family safely out of the city. The Lord was kind to Lot and his family, So after the two men brought Lot and his family out of the city, one of the men said, "Now run to save your life. Don't look back at the city, and don't stop anywhere in the valley. Run until you are in the mountains. If you stop, you will be destroyed with the city." But Lot said to the two men, "Sirs, please don't force me to run so far. You have been very kind to me, your servant. You have been very kind to save me, but I cannot run all the way to the mountains. What if I am too slow and something happens? I will be killed. Look, there is a very small town near here. Let me run to that town. I can run there and be safe." The angel said to Lot, "Very well, I'll let you do that. I will not destroy that town, but run there quickly. I cannot destroy Sodom until you are safely in that town." That town is named Zoar because it is a small town. Lot was entering the town as the sun came up, and the Lord began to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. He caused fire and burning sulfur to fall from the sky. He destroyed the whole valley, all the cities, the people living in the cities, and all the plants in the valley. Lot's wife was following behind him and looked back at the city. When she did, she became a block of salt. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and went to the place where he stood before the Lord. Abraham looked down into the valley toward the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. He saw clouds of smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. God destroyed the cities in the valley, but he remembered what Abraham had said. So God sent Lot away from those cities before destroying them. Lot was afraid to stay in Zoar, so he and his two daughters went to live in the mountains in a cave. One day the older daughter said to the younger, "Everywhere on the earth, men and women marry and have a family, but our father is old, and there are no men around here to give us children. So let's get our father drunk with wine. Then we can have sex with him. That way we can use our father to keep our family alive." That night, the two girls went to their father and got him drunk with wine. Then the older daughter went and had sexual relations with him. He did not even know when she came to bed or when she got up. The next day, the older daughter said to the younger daughter, "Last night I went to bed with my father. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight. Then you can go and have sex with him. In this way, we can use our father to have children, and our family will not come to an end." So that night, the two girls got their father drunk with wine. Then the younger daughter went and had sexual relations with him. Again, Lot did not know when she came to bed or when she got up. Both of Lot's daughters became pregnant. Their father was the father of their babies. The older daughter gave birth to a son. She named him Moab. Moab is the ancestor of all the Moabites living today. The younger daughter also gave birth to a son. She named him Ben-Ami. Ben-Ami is the ancestor of all the Ammonites living today. Genesis 19, 1-38 ERV.
All right, so chapter 19 of Genesis, very long chapter, very drawn out, but very, very informative, and just it's an amazing chapter, to be honest with you. So we starting off with my main man Lot. You know what I'm saying? Lot is living in Sodom and Gomorrah. In the last chapter, Abram, who finally became Abraham, had 3 visitors come and tell him that, man, we about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And he tries to bargain with him, like, man, if you find 10 good people, please will you save the city? So, oh yeah, we find 10 good people, we gonna save the city. Guess what? The city ain't nobody good in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. It was looking real bad, and we got firsthand. And pretty much what happens is Lot runs into the same scenario. He sees 2 divine people, and he know these ain't no regular people. These people is of God. He hits them with hospitality. People of God, you always hit them with some hospitality first. And he's like, oh, come in. But, Lot doesn't realize, like, they here on the mission. They already know what's up. You know what I'm saying? They say, hey, we about to stay out here in the square. We want to see what's cracking out here in Sodom. He's oh no, coming to my house. You know, they just play along with Lot, and pretty much the wickedness follows them. The townsmen come and they want to do some things to these divine people because they don't know that these divine people. You know, when you evil, you don't know what's divine. They want to do some things to them. Lot trying to protect the angels. Now realizing that it's about to turn the other way around. And when Lot can't protect them no more, the angels take charge and pretty much just prove that, hey, the city gots to go. It's over. One of the things that we see is that Lot was living physically there in Sodom and Gomorrah, but he wasn't mentally there. What they was doing was not what Lot was doing. You know what I'm saying? Lot was already a stranger. You know, you saw inside the chapter that they treated him like a stranger. You know, so pretty much he, with him being not really from this area, you had no attachment. So when God said it's time to go, it was really just time to go. It ain't no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You know, one of the things that we see was, you know, it wasn't that he was trying to fight against going, but he didn't have a sense of urgency. Once the God said, let's go immediately, he still was kind of just not hesitant. I'll just say just not moving fast enough. So they had to guide him out the city. You know, him and his family. He wanted to try to get more of his family to come, but they weren't really going with it. They didn't really understand. So, you know, pretty much he was hurried up about the city, you know. And once he got hurried up out the city, you know, you kind of start to see the doubt drop in. You know what I'm saying? With God's judgment, we are never in a situation where we can absolutely comprehend what God is doing, especially when it comes to like judgment. We cannot comprehend God's judgment. All we can do is just pretty much witness it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, you're just not ready for what God has in store. And I think that's all that really happened with Lot. He just wasn't understanding what it was. And just because he had grace, you know, through the grace of God, he was just constantly pushed forward, you know what I'm saying? Because he was a blessed person. He was an obedient person. And, you know, that's just what happens with grace, and especially in a time where you're being delivered from something. When you're being delivered from something, you'll realize that it's not all on you. You'll realize that things that you will be pushed for in almost like a supernatural way. Whether it is, you know, we're just talking about the destruction of a city. You know, if you're going through like addiction, you know what I'm saying, you will realize that you'll be delivered from that addiction. And it's not all on you and all your willpower. Something supernatural will happen to give you that type of strength to drop certain addictions. Maybe it's like not going certain places. You know, you'll look up and it's just something supernatural that keep you away from this place, or something that's placed in your life to where you don't even think about that place anymore. You know, maybe it may be a certain person that you have to separate yourself from. You know, other people will start to come into your life and make it to where you don't even think about that person anymore. You'll realize like that person doesn't even have a significant hold over your life like that anymore. You know, that's just what the supernatural will do when you have grace and you have favor, especially when you're being commanded to do something. It's like I'm saying, it's not all on you. And we kind of see this is what happens a lot. It's not all on him. Of course, he had favor, you know, but he was guided forward in this situation, you know. One of the things that we also see is just what happens to certain people who don't follow the commands. His wife was curious of what was moving forward. They had specific instructions: do not turn back. And once she turned back, she was turned into a pillar of salt. You know, I deal with like the same thing, like with coming to a point where I'm cutting off vices, I'm cutting off certain habits and certain things. You know, when I go back, there's always like a certain punishment. There's always something that happens to where it's like, you know, see, I told you. You know, um, man, you know, one thing I could share is like, I remember I had a very long journey with stopping smoking. You know, I used to smoke weed, and one of the things that helped me stop, right? I remember I got to a point where I was just like, all right, it's time to put this down, right? But I remember I had to go to a barbecue, and one of my really really good friends was there. He still be smoking weed, you know. I don't judge him, and you know, he pulled up, and I remember I thinking to myself, I was like, well, you know, if I smoke with him, it wouldn't matter. He wouldn't tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be a. I wouldn't feel bad if I only smoked weed with him, right? I ended up having a seizure this day. I remember he handed me the blunt. I started coughing. I started choking. And I looked up, and everybody was like, "Oh man, are you all right?" I was like, "What you mean?" They was like, "Man, you started drooling, and it looked like you had a seizure." And from that point, I was just like, "Yep, that was a sign." I remember it was. I remember I laughed about it. I felt like it was like a chain lifted from me, where it was just like I needed that to happen for me to realize like this is the end. It's no coming back after this, and it really has. It has been. I have not gone back. You know, and it's created a significant shift in my life. Honestly, like I would have never got to doing these videos if I would have never made that shift. So it was just a real shift, and that's why I feel like this is a very important message that I'm seeing within this verse. It's just there's no looking back. I mean, I saw the music executive Jimmy Iovine talk in a documentary. He said, you know, he doesn't have a rear view mirror in his car because it ain't no looking back. It's no looking back at this time. You know. Also, we see that, you know, when it comes to surviving and it comes to making choices, you know, when you make choices out of fear instead of just moving forward, it'll create problems that you were not expecting. Let me rephrase that. If you're starting anything and of course it seems like it's a long journey, once you compromise or make that shortcut, it'll create problems that you were not expecting to have. We see this, you know, of course with Lot. You know, he begs the angels of the Lord to not let him run up this far hill. And remember, he has grace. So they say, hey, okay, we're not going to make you walk up the hill, but we're going to take you down into the valley. Pretty much he gets to a valley, and he gets into this valley instead of going to where they told him to run, you know, because once again, he has grace. And, of course, he's taken advantage of at one night. Taken advantage of where now his daughters, you know, kind of took advantage of him pretty much. We're just going to leave it at that, right? You know, and of course, like, when you read this part of the book, it seemed kind of just sketchy because it was like, really? Once in 2 nights? I mean, twice. One night happened and the next night it happened and you just let it happen? Like, that's crazy. You got a drinking problem because they said he got drunk. But, you know, this is just the word of God. This is what that's what it's just telling us what happened. And, you know, one of the things you can just pull from that is just like, man, don't make decisions based out of fear. Go all the way with it when you see the direction that you're supposed to go to. When you're given the divine direction, go that direction. Don't make any shortcuts. You know what I'm saying? Let me just rephrase that. Don't take the shortcut. You know, we saw several situations where people take shortcuts in life, and it looks where it gets them. It doesn't get them to where they need to get to, or it's almost like a tarnishment on their legacy because they took the shortcut. You know, because I was, of course, like immersed into like the entertainment industry for a while, right? You know, I see that all the time where the artist would take a record label deal, and especially like during my era of, you know, entertainment, especially like with their music. I came up during the internet era where it never made sense to me why people needed record deals unless like you wanted to have your music on the radio, and even then it was like it kind of seemed pointless. You know, if you had the right education, you spend your money in the right ways, especially if you had good music. And then, of course, like I said, I came up in the internet age. You know, you get your music out to the right blogs or get it out to the right people, the right playlists. It just blows up, right? And I always feel like I saw it time and time and time and time again. And I've seen it with several people. And like, you know, it's a predatory type situation where the people who always took the shortcut are going to the with the record label just because they can do this, that, and the third as a service, and they give up all of the rights and all their masters. It makes it to where they own nothing in the end of it. You know, and that's one of the just parallels I can see. Like a lot of people do that out of fear. Like, how am I gonna feed my family? Or I'm doing this so long. Like, when am I actually gonna make money doing this? And it's just like, no, like, you know, you stick with it and you do it step by step. And I'm not saying like a record label is a wrong thing to do, because it's like anytime you link with a larger company and you have a smaller company, but and they give you an influx of cash and more resources, that'll be a good thing, right? But you need to have knowledge, and you don't make it a shortcut. You make it more of, okay, this is a larger step, a part of the bigger part of the plan. You know, and a lot of times like people make it a shortcut and not make it a part of a bigger plan that they have, where they actually get their actual rights and they actually make the real money that they should make when they're doing like a record deal. You know, I'm telling you, we see it all the time, and it's always fear-driven things. I'm not gonna pop if I don't take this record label or record deal, or man, if I don't take this record deal, you know what I'm saying? Like, how am I gonna feed my family? There's several scenarios, you know. But the whole gist of it is just like, don't do anything based off of fear. You know, always do things to where you are firm and confident in the direction that you're going into, especially if it's already given to you. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's giving you a divine direction of which way to go, just go with it. Don't take any shortcuts. If you haven't seen God move in your life before, this is your chance to go to Reylo.tv and check out the Miracle Blueprint, my free program, where all you gotta do is be obedient for 40 days, and you'll see how God will move in your life. I'm actually on the program today, and you know, my goal within this 40 days is to release a course and for it to be successful. And I want to chronicle this because I want you guys to see this video, and whenever you see this video, I want you to go into the future or just keep rocking with me and see when I release this course and see how successful it is, where you can see how God moves in my life, because I want him to move in your life the same way. Go Reylo.tv, check out the program, check out the Miracle Blueprint. Alright, man. So we just handled the whole life situation. We just went through the whole chapter, right? Now let's tie this into business, right? I just kind of just gave you just a little glimpse of business, right? Because record deals, that's business. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you don't want to let fear dictate your direction. You know what I'm saying? You always want your faith to dictate your direction. You want to go with what you're faithful with, right? And one of the things that I can tell you is just like with business is stop negotiating what God said to escape from. You know what I'm saying? Do not negotiate. Like, I see a lot of people who compromise in this world, right? You know, there's a lot of problems that plague us right now in society. You know what I'm saying? Where people are thinking that certain things are businesses. We have the adult industry that's kind of rampant right now. We have OnlyFans where people are just letting people see everything. I mean, everything for a subscription fee. We have sports gambling where people are just betting on everything. Like you're able to bet on everything at this point in time, where people are becoming gambling addicts. Escape these type of things because they're not solid businesses. God will eventually tear down things that are unethical. God will tear down things that are unethical, and it will pretty much be torn down against you. We see legislation be put up, all types of things that will kill industries overnight. Always set yourself up on a solid foundation that God wants you to go, and don't set it up on something that you need to escape from. Only you know what you need to escape from. Only you know what's going in your life that isn't of God and God wants you to escape from. So just internalize that. Also, don't build your brand on things that are going to be torn down. I was just watching a video. Well, I'm sorry, a podcast with the video creator Logan Paul. Logan Paul was super big at one point in time, man. Right now, he like the Homer Simpson. He's like real life Homer Simpson. He done fought in the ring with world class boxers. He done dropped albums. He done made countless YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, the man was a phenomenon at one point in time, right? And in this particular podcast, he has his own podcast called Impulsive, where he talked about him leaving the site Vine to go to YouTube, right? He said got real popular on Vine, but he felt like it was unsustainable. So he made sure that he made the jump off of Vine to YouTube, right? Went from something that wasn't unsustainable to something that's going to be sustainable for years to come. I don't think YouTube would ever go anywhere. And he talked about how like certain people died with Vine, and like it was true. I actually remember there was tons and tons of creators that was on Vine, and once Vine left, it went with them. Set yourself up on things that are going to be solid foundations. Your next season requires no backward longing. Like, there's no turning back in your next season. When you get to your next season, you may be planning something. You may be wanting to do something, but you know that there's certain things in your life that are blocking you. Realize, and for order for you to get there, you can't turn back. I just gave you my testimony about smoking weed. There's no turning back with that. I had a seizure, and it was like, and thank God that it was like something that was so light. I literally laughed about it. because I laughed about it because I laughed because I knew it was a chain that was being broken. It wasn't like something I need to be serious about. Of course, I went to my doctor and got checked up because I ain't never had no seizure before, but it was something where I was just like, it was nothing but God, and it was just my sign. It was just a subtle sign to just move forward and not to turn back, because once you turn back, you might be like Lot's wife, and you just get stuck there. Thank you so much for watching this video. You know, along with the Miracle Blueprint, I am starting my executive community. Go to Reylo.tv and check out my executive community where we're building up more believers business. I can help you with anything with your business, especially if it's digital. If you want to make videos like this, or if you want to make your video conferences better, if you want to start a group where you teach people things, anything digital, or even if you just don't know what to do, I can help you guide you in that direction. If you know, because to be honest with you, most millionaires are people who own businesses. And I can show you the benefits of owning your own business. Even if you make good money right now and you thinking about starting a business, I can help you save on your taxes just for you starting your business. Check me out in my executive community. Go to Reylo.tv, check out my executive community, man, and let's build together, man. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. And until I see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.